All right, let's talk about a real game changer. Have you ever wished you could just press a button and have your entire cloud infrastructure build itself perfectly every single time? Well, you actually can. And today we're going to dive into exactly how to do that using a super powerful tool called AWS CloudFormation. So let's set the scene for a minute. You know how it is. You're on a project, and you need a dev environment, a test environment, and of course, the live production environment. And the one thing everyone is stressing about is making sure they are all 100% identical. I mean, has this ever been you? Clicking through menus, running scripts by hand, trying to remember every little configuration detail? It is a recipe for disaster, right? Maybe the security group in test has a slightly different rule than prod, or maybe the dev database is missing one tiny patch. These little differences, they cause huge headaches later on. You just know there has to be a better way to do this. And guess what? There is. The whole solution is a total shift in how we think about this. What if, instead of building our infrastructure with clicks and commands, we could just describe it in a file, a blueprint, but made of code? And that's the whole idea behind infrastructure as code, or IAC for short. It's about treating your servers, your databases, your networks, everything, really, just like you treat your application code. You define it in a file, you can track changes to it, and you let a machine build it for you flawlessly every time. When you look at it from a high level, the process is actually pretty simple. First, you write a special file called a template that describes everything you want. Second, you feed that template to a provisioning engine. And third, that engine goes out and creates what's called a stack. That's all your live stuff, all your resources. Okay, so we get the big idea, right? The what and the why makes sense. But how do we actually do this in the real world? Well, in the AWS universe, the go-to tool for this job is AWS CloudFormation. You can think of CloudFormation as that super smart engine we just talked about. It's the service that reads your code blueprint and then does all the heavy lifting, making all the right calls to AWS to bring your infrastructure to life exactly the way you spelled it out. So, how does this actually work under the hood? Let's peel back the layers a little bit and look at the two most important parts of the CloudFormation process, that template you write and the stack that it creates. So when you write that blueprint, that CloudFormation template, you've got a choice. You can write it in either YAML or JSON. A lot of people really like YAML because it's pretty clean and easy for humans to read. JSON is a bit more structured, very machine-friendly. The cool thing is, you get to pick whichever one you're more comfortable with. Now, for anyone out there who's studying for an AWS certification, listen up. This is important. You don't need to stress about memorizing all the syntax. The key thing is to understand what the template does, what its job is, so you can relax a little on that front. It's about the concept, not the memorization. For instance, a really basic template might just ask for one thing, a virtual server, an EC2 instance. And inside that code, you'd specify exactly what you want. Like, hey, I need a T3.micro, and please use this specific Amazon machine image, which sets up the operating system. It's that simple. So once CloudFormation takes that template and runs with it, the thing it creates is called a stack. A stack is just the collection of all your live running AWS resources, your EC2 instances, your databases, your networks, all of it, created from that one template and now managed together as a single unit. Okay, let's bring this all the way back to the problem we started with, right? We needed things to be consistent across different environments. So what's the real payoff of doing things this way, with templates and stacks? And this is the perfect analogy. CloudFormation is basically a cookie cutter for your infrastructure. You design the cutter once, that's your template, and then you can stamp out perfect, identical copies over and over and over again. No more of those, well, it worked in dev mysteries. This is where it all just clicks. You take that one single template file and you use it to deploy your development stack. Then you take that exact same file and you use it to deploy your testing stack. And you use it one more time for your production stack. They are guaranteed to be the same. So let's just recap the big wins here. First, you get that consistent provisioning every single time. Second, because the machine is doing the work, you basically eliminate human error. Third, it's way, way faster and more efficient than doing it by hand. And maybe the best part, the CloudFormation service itself doesn't cost anything. It's free. You only pay for the actual AWS resources it creates for you. All right, let's boil all this down. If you're studying for a test or you just want the key points to stick in your head, these are the absolute must-know facts you need to walk away with. Here they are, plain and simple. Number one, CloudFormation is AWS's infrastructure as code service. That's its whole job. 2,
The blueprints, the templates, are written in YAML or JSON. 3. The live result, all those resources running in your account, that's called a stack. And 4, its main goal is to give you fast, consistent setups with way fewer mistakes. That's the core of it right there.
So we'll leave you with this idea. With infrastructure as code, you now have a repeatable blueprint for pretty much anything you can dream of building in the cloud, and you can deploy it perfectly in just minutes. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build first? Thanks for joining me.